Okay, I want you to think back for a second. Back to your school days, probably in a science lab. For a lot of us, it was exciting, right? But it was also kind of stressful. Well, today we're diving into a new tool that wants to get rid of that stress. It's called the AI Lab Assistant, and it's pretty much a personal science mentor that fits right in your pocket.
Man, that quote just hits home, doesn't it? It perfectly captures that universal feeling. You're just standing there looking at all this equipment and thinking, am I about to mess this up badly? It's a feeling pretty much anyone who's ever worn a lab coat knows all too well.
But that feeling isn't just some vague anxiety. It's actually rooted in a bunch of very real, very practical problems that students run into every single day when they try to take science from the textbook to the lab bench.
And these aren't small hurdles either. We're talking about real safety risks if something isn't set up right. You've got pages of confusing data that just look like a wall of numbers. And then after all that, you have to somehow write a professional lab report, a lot of the time with no one around to ask for help. This is exactly the problem this new kind of solution is trying to solve.
So, what's the fix? Well, the solution here isn't just another single do-it-all AI. The whole approach is to build what you could basically call an AI dream team. So think of it less like one assistant and more like a whole crew of specialists, all working together for you.
So, what in the world is a multi agent architecture?
It sounds super technical, right? But it's actually a pretty simple idea. All it means is that instead of one general AI, you have a bunch of different AIs, and each one is an expert at one specific thing. They talk to each other and combine their skills to solve a big problem, like a lab experiment, way better than a single AI ever could. All right, let's meet the team. First up, you've got the safety agent. Think of it as your personal hazard spotter. Then there's the data agent, the number cruncher who makes sense of all your measurements. You've got the report agent, who's basically a professional technical writer. The knowledge agent is your on-demand science encyclopedia, and keeping everyone in line is the orchestrator, the team captain making sure it all runs smoothly. Okay, so now that we've met the dream team, let's see them in action. We're going to walk through 3 really common lab scenarios to see exactly how these different agents work together to solve the exact problems we just talked about. First things first, the most important moment of any experiment, the very beginning. Before you do anything else, you have to ask, is my setup safe? All you have to do is snap a quick picture and ask the assistant to check it out. And this is where you see the power of the safety agent. It doesn't just give you some generic warning like, hey, be careful. No way. It actually analyzes the picture and points out specific, real hazards like, hey, you're missing your goggles, that beaker should be covered, and your hands are way too close to that flame. Then it gives you clear, simple instructions on how to fix each problem. It's all about preventing accidents before they even have a chance to happen. Okay, great. So you've done your experiment and you did it safely, but now you've got a table full of numbers. And that brings us to the next big question. What is this data actually telling me? This is where the data agent gets its moment to shine. You feed it your raw data, and it doesn't just hand you back another spreadsheet. It actually does the statistical analysis, calculates the average, and then creates this super clean chart that shows you how your results stack up against what you were supposed to get. And this is the most important part. The AI doesn't just give you a pretty chart, it gives you insight. It actually interprets the result for you. It gives you a simple, scientific conclusion that explains what your findings actually mean. And finally, we get to the part that so many students just dread, taking all your notes, all your data, all your conclusions, and turning them into a polished, professional lab report. Well, with the report agent, you basically just hand over your observations. The agent then does all the heavy lifting. It structures everything into a perfect scientific document. It writes the objective, lists out the materials and procedure. It even embeds your data and charts, and then it writes a sharp conclusion. The whole shebang, ready to hand in. So you're probably wondering, what's the magic that makes this incredible team of agents work? What's the technology that makes it all possible? Let's pop the hood for a second and look at the key concepts that power this whole thing. So the whole system is built on some really cool AI ideas. Multimodal AI is just a fancy way of saying it can see images, read text, and understand numbers all at the same time. Function calling lets it use outside tools, kind of like how we would use a calculator. It uses code execution to run real Python code to analyze your data. It uses web grounding to check its facts with Google Search, and memory management so it remembers your entire conversation and never loses context. And for those of you who are into the nuts and bolts, here's a quick look at the tech stack. It's powered by Google's awesome Gemini 1.5 Pro model. It's written in Python, the interface is built with a tool called Streamlit, and the whole thing is deployed on Google Cloud Run. A really modern, powerful setup.
Now, all of this is incredibly cool for one student in one lab, but the part that gets really exciting is when we zoom out and think about what this could mean for science education as a whole.
I mean, the potential impact here is huge. A tool like this helps democratize science. It gives every single student access to expert-level guidance, no matter what school they go to. It makes labs safer, and maybe the most important thing is that it empowers students by building their confidence. And let's be super clear, this isn't about replacing teachers. It's about giving teachers a powerful new partner to help every student shine.
And that really leads us to one last big idea to chew on. We've seen how this works for a science lab, but just imagine for a second, what if this same concept, this team of AI experts, was available for history, or for math, or for learning to code? What if every single student, for any subject they were learning, had their own personal AI mentor to guide them? The potential to completely reshape how we learn, it's really something to think about.